Brahmana said, Ka hu tvam yu kasya whose asi are you? Ka hu va or ayam this man sayana lying down yasya for whom sochasi are lamenting janasi do you know sakhayam friend mam me yena with whom agre formerly vichartartha you consulted ha certainly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki. The Brahmana inquired as follows: who are you? Whose wife or daughter are you? Who is the man lying here? It appears you are lamenting for this dead body. But don't you recognize me? Wait a second. Something wrong here. Ah, sorry about that. It's the previous one. It's actually 51. No, 51, I made it a little. My dear king, one Brahmana who was an old friend of King Puranjana came to that place and began to pacify the queen with sweet words. Purport. The appearance of an old friend in the form of a Brahmana is very significant. In his Paramatma feature, Krishna is the old friend of everyone. According to Vedic injunction, Krishna is sitting with the living entities side by side. According to the Shruti mantra, Dva Suparna Sayujya Shakaya. It's okay. The Lord is sitting within the heart of every living entity as Suhrit, the best friend. The Lord is always eager to have the living entity come home, back to Godhead. Sitting with the living entity as witness, the Lord gives him all chances to enjoy himself materially. But whenever there is an opportunity, the Lord gives good counsel and advises the living entity to abandon trying to become happy through material adjustment and instead turn his face toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto Him. So that's what book distribution is about. We're giving, thank you. We're giving people an opportunity to understand who they are, to remind them who they are. People have forgotten who they are. It's a very sad situation. Prabhupada actually said that Krishna, he's feeling some pain because so many of his parts and parcels are lost in this world of darkness. Just like a father, he has some son that goes off and just becomes very degraded. It gives some pain to the father. So God also, he's feeling some pain. So a devotee tries to relieve Krishna of this pain by going out and trying to help the conditioned souls. It's like we're hearing here how Krishna, he's the best friend. Everybody likes to have a best friend, right? So Krishna is the best friend of everyone. And it's said that the best friend is someone who is always thinking of the welfare of his friend, and he'll do anything for his friend. So Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, Ata eva ami agyat dulun sapakare. He says, I order everyone to accept this Krishna consciousness and distribute it everywhere, to everyone. So this is our best friend. And he's asking. Actually, he doesn't ask. It's an order. The translation is really, I order everyone, Lord Chaitanya says, to accept this Krishna consciousness and distribute it everywhere to everyone. It's a powerful statement. He doesn't give an option. You know? If you're feeling good, if you feel, you can go out and... No option. He says, I order everyone accept this and distribute it everywhere to everyone. So this is our best friend speaking. So Lord Chaitanya is our friend. He has a desire. And we, as parts and parcels, we should feel that it's important that we try to satisfy that desire. Go out. Try to help the conditioned souls. And when we go out to distribute books or preach, it's not that only book distribution. There's so many different varieties of preaching. Now there's internet preaching. I don't know if many of you know, but there's a devotee named Audarya Dam in Russia who makes more devotees than anybody else on the planet. He makes literally thousands of devotees in Russia. He's a doctor. So he goes in as medical and psychological reasons, and then he implants Krishna consciousness. He's made so many devotees. So it's not that only by book distribution. There's so many ways. We have college preaching, but the idea is we should go out and please Krishna by giving this very valuable knowledge to the conditioned souls. And Krishna also, he says, Yaidang paramang guyang mad bhakti subhasiti. That Yaidang paramang guyang, that anybody that is distributing this very confidential knowledge of the Bhagavad-Gita is most dear to me. And there'll never be anyone more dear to me than that person. It's like Krishna, or Srila Prabhupada, he said that every step we take towards Krishna, he's taken how many steps towards us? 10. I've heard 100, and the other day I heard 1,000. I think it was 10. So actually Prabhupada said if you're distributing books, you're running towards Krishna. You're not just taking steps, you're running towards Krishna. And he said it's the fast lane back to Godhead, distributing books, because it's so pleasing to Krishna. Krishna himself comes and he preaches. He's the best preacher. He preaches the Bhagavad-Gita. Right? Prabhupada says in one purport that the pure devotee does not have a material body because of his being surcharged with the current of Krishna's identical interests. So this is the desire of Krishna. This is the desire of the pure devotee. And when we're distributing books, we're giving people this opportunity to get this current, to catch this current of transcendental knowledge. And then people get this knowledge, and then they go on, they tell their friends about it. So it just goes on and on like this. Another place Prabhupada says, the Bhagavad-Gita is the most beautiful thing in the world. And it's spoken by the most beautiful person in all creation, Krishna. And if we read Bhagavad-Gita, we also become beautiful. And if we distribute the Bhagavad-Gita, we become more beautiful. And the people whom we distribute books to, they become more beautiful. So this is all about beautifying the world. Sarva Sukhino Bhavantu. Our mission is to help everyone become happy. When I read that, I was thinking, wow, I joined the right movement. What a nice mission statement. To help everyone become happy. And that's what this knowledge is about. We're giving people an opportunity to understand who they are, to understand who the Supreme is, and to develop this loving relationship with Krishna. This is where the real happiness is. Everybody wants to be happy, but they don't know what happiness is or where to find the happiness. So we're very fortunate. We found the real happiness of the soul. Like sometimes I distribute books. I remember I was distributing and I approached one man, I was showing the book. And he was showing a little interest. But then he said, nah, I won't read it. I'm not interested. So I pointed to his head and I said, up here you're not interested. Then I pointed to his heart. But here you're very interested. He said, okay, you got me. Right. So this is what the soul is interested in, serving Krishna. They don't know, they're in Maya. They got their mind, which is completely bewildered. But we got to let them know what is really valuable. Srila Prabhupada said that for one who is desiring to have a comfortable life in Krishna consciousness, advancement will be very slow. So we should be wanting to go out of our way to help the conditioned souls. Yeah. And Helen Keller, she said, if one doesn't live a life of adventure, one is living a life not worth living. And book distribution is a real adventure. I'll give you a couple examples real quick. There's a devotee named Shudi who was asked by Prabhupada to go to South Africa and preach. There was no devotees there. He got word that first go to Kenya. There's some people there. Maybe he can get some names of people in South Africa to help him along. So he went to Kenya. He met some people that were favorable, and he got some names, 3 or 4 names. So then he's in the plane to go to South Africa, and he's in his seat there in the plane, and he decides to put up some pictures of Krishna there in front of him and pray to Krishna for some guidance, for some help. So he's sitting there praying with the pictures in front of him, and an Indian man walks by, and he says, "Oh, you have some very nice pictures of Krishna. Where did you get these?" So Shudi asked him to sit down here. I'll tell you how I got them. So he explained to him that I'm on a mission. I'm going to South Africa to preach Krishna consciousness, and he had already heard about ISKCON. So they were talking, and then he thought, "Oh, maybe this man might know some of these people." So he showed the list, and the man saw the first name, and he said, "That's my father-in-law." Now there's about 20 million people in South Africa, okay? And then he looks down, the next one, didn't know that. Then the next one, "That's me." I mean, Krishna is very mystical, yeah? And he became the first life member in South Africa. Yeah. So book distribution is very dynamic. It's an adventure. I'll tell you another one. This is amazing. 2 Muslims, they were from Miramar, and they went to visit America doing some business, and they met some devotees in the airport, and somehow they bought a BTG. They looked at it and they said, "Oh, we're Muslims, we don't read this." But then they thought, well, we have a friend in Miramar who's Hindu, so maybe he'll like it. So when they got back to Miramar, they saw their friend. "Hey, you might like this." So he looked at it a little bit, and he put it on the table. It sat there for a while. Then his son, he saw this Back to Godhead. So he picked it up, and he started looking through it, and thought, "Wow, this is nice. This is interesting. This is good." In the back of the magazine, you could send off for a free book. So he sent off for a free book to Los Angeles. And when the devotees in Los Angeles saw this, a person, actually it was called Burma back then. Here is a person from Burma that's asking for one of Prabhupada's books. This never happened before. So they knew of a devotee in Thailand that was preaching, Bhakti Vikash Prabhu at that time. He wasn't a sannyasi. So they sent this address to Bhakti Vikash Brahmachari at the time. And he thought, well, wow, this is amazing. So at that time, you could only go to Burma for 1 day. Very strict. Still it's strict, but back then you could only get a visa for 1 day. So he went to this city, and he knocked on the door of the address, and the mother said, "Oh yeah, this is for my son. He's not here now, but wait, he'll be here in a few minutes." So the son came, and he Bhakti Vikash introduced himself. I'm here to deliver this book that you asked for. And this young man's thinking, wow, that's some pretty good service. So he had a whole bunch of books, and he preached to him for like about 3 hours, and he was very impressed. No, Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, he had to leave for visa reason. But he was so interested that there was no temple, there was no devotees in Burma at all at the time. But he heard there were some devotees in Singapore. So he went to Singapore, and he got some association with the devotees there in Singapore for a couple months. And he got some understanding of Krishna consciousness and the process and chanting japa and the whole thing and 4 regular principles. And so he got a good understanding and a good taste. So when he went back to Burma, he started preaching and preaching and preaching. And now there's 13 temples in Myanmar. That's some pretty good preaching. Amazing. It all began 1 BTG. So this book distribution is very powerful, Prabhus. So we should continue on. We're increasing every year, but we have to increase. Prabhupada didn't like to be, stagnant. He always doubled it. Increase. He said I only have one disease. What was the disease? I always think big. He wants the whole world to be Krishna conscious. And one more little thing. One lady, he was at a temple, and this lady came to Prabhupada in the morning program. She said, Prabhupada, I had a wonderful dream last night. I dreamt the whole world was chanting Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada said, oh, it's a very nice dream, and that is my desire. Should I tell one more little story? And then we'll give it to Maharaj. Just to show the mysticism. I mean, Prabhupada is so mystical. Krishna, and Krishna, he's the master of mystics. Prabhupada is in Los Angeles. He gets a letter from somebody in Brazil. They want someone to come and preach. There's nothing in Brazil. So Prabhupada asked Sridharananda Maharaj to be the GBC of South America. And he agreed. And Prabhupada gave him this letter. I received this letter from Brazil. They want us to go there and start a temple. So he said, okay, that's my first lead. So then he went down to Laguna Beach. And the devotees in Laguna Beach heard that he had become the GBC for South America. And there was one guest that was visiting there from Brazil. So the devotee said, well, there's a devotee here now, he's visiting, and he's the GBC for Brazil and all of South America. Maybe you can go and talk to him, tell him you're showing some interest. So he went up, and they were talking for a while, and Sridharananda Maharaj, he said, I have this address in Brazil. Do you know where this is? So the young student, he was a student, he looked at the address, and he couldn't believe it. This is my address. How could this be your address? You didn't send it, did you? No, this is my brother. His brother that sent that letter to Prabhupada, his name is now Dhanvantari Swami. And he's the GBC. He's the only GBC now for Brazil. And he was a medical practitioner. Prabhupada didn't know that, but he gave him the name Dhanvantari. It's all mystical, Prabhu. So we should do this adventure, continue this adventure of spreading Krishna consciousness for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Now, as you all know, Mayapur is number 1, New Delhi is number 2. And this is the inspiration right here. He's such a great inspiration. He talks softly, but he speaks in a way that thousands of people are inspired to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to, maybe this works fine.
Hare Krishna. But that one's better.
This is better.
Hare Krishna.
Is that okay?
That one, can I? Can I use that?
Can you hear?
Hare Krishna.
Is it good? Okay, good.
We do kirtan or go straight to the lecture. If we do a short kirtan.
No, we already had kirtan. There's not much time.
Okay.
Better just speak.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitan Yena
Jena
Tasmai
Tasmai Shri Gurave
Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadaya
Tadati Swapadam
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. So I believe today we are going to be giving out prizes or acknowledge the services of temples around the world that took part in book distribution. Prabhupada encouraged book distribution. What is the mantra? Preaching is the essence. Of all types of services we can do, the most important is preaching. In the fourth canto, Narada Muni gives the Prachetas a very simple formula for pleasing the Lord. There is this famous verse, Dayaya sarvabhuteshu santushta yena kena vam sarvadanya pashanti acha tvishadhyashu janardana. If you want to please the Lord, you should just engage in three types of activities. One is Dayaya, be merciful to all. And as you've heard many times, as Prabhupada explains, Dayaya, pure mercy is giving people knowledge by which they can develop love of God. Santushta, be satisfied with what is provided by the will of the Lord and control your mind and senses. If you execute these three activities, you can please the Lord. So our acharyas have emphasized the importance of preaching. At one time, there was no printing facility, no paper industry, and the books were handwritten. And if somebody wanted to copy a book, they had to handwrite it, not use a Xerox machine. Then the printing industry was gradually developed, and Thakur Bhaktivinoda was the first acharya who took advantage of the printing technology to preach. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as you know, was a pioneer in many areas, and it was he who re-established the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew Lord Chaitanya has predicted the holy name will be chanted in every town and village of the world. So he wrote a book on the life of Lord Chaitanya. And in 1896, he sent this book to universities around the world. This was the first major Sankirtan effort. And 1896 also happened to be the year that Prabhupada appeared on the planet. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first acharya. And then he instructed his son, Bhaktisiddhanta, to follow this example. Bhaktisiddhanta encouraged printing and distribution of books. He established printing presses in Calcutta, Krishnanagar, Chennai, and he started this program of book distribution and book printing. Prabhupada said, if somebody would come back, just having distributed one book, Bhaktisiddhanta would be very happy. Very good. He distributed a book. So Bhaktisiddhanta ji instructed Prabhupada on numerous occasions about the importance of book printing and distribution. At times, Bhaktisiddhanta ji would be disturbed by the misunderstanding or fights amongst his disciples, especially after they had built a big temple in Calcutta. So Bhaktisiddhanta ji used to say, it is better that I sell the marble and use the money to print books. So in 1935, Prabhupada was on parikram with his spiritual master at Radhakund. And in Radhakund, Bhaktisiddhanta ji drew the picture of a mridanga. And he said, if Krishna gives you some facility, print and what? And distribute books. Why is this called Brihad Mridanga? An ordinary mridanga's voice, sound, even with the best sound system, can only travel to a point. But a book distributed in one part of the world can be read in another part of the world. I know of so many instances where somebody got a book in Australia. He was a sailor. He got a book in Australia. Then the ship sailed from Australia to England. And on the way to England, he read the books. In England, he went to a temple in London and bought some more books. And then the ship sailed from London to Moscow. And on the way, he read those books. And by the time he reached in Moscow, he decided to become a full-time brahmachari. So where did the journey start? It started in Australia. And the sailors usually go out for casual walks. He was just walking when an enthusiastic book distributor gave him a book. In America, a few years ago, I asked a devotee how he became a devotee. So he said that he was sitting in a car with a friend of his in Florida. And in the back of the car, there was a Bhagavad-Gita lying near the window. So he asked his friend, can I borrow that Bhagavad-Gita? I heard my professor talking about the Bhagavad-Gita. And the friend said, why borrow? Take it. I have no interest in reading it. So he was curious. Why did he buy the book if he had no interest in reading it? And the friend said that Hare Krishna monk who was selling the book was so enthusiastic, so convincing that I couldn't say no. So I bought the book. So Prabhupada said on numerous occasions, enthusiasm is an important factor for book distribution. Once in Bombay, downtown, I had arranged for a big display of Prabhupada books. They had a display rack, they had books in the show window, all over. It was a big promotion. The owner of the shop was a life member. So after 1 month, he reported not many books were sold. So Prabhupada at that time was staying at his Bombay quarters. I told Prabhupada, in spite of the best promotion, we didn't sell too many books in that bookstore. They call it International Book House. Prabhupada said, my books are distributed because of the enthusiasm of my devotees. In a bookstore store, the salesmen are not so enthusiastic. So enthusiasm is a key. And you also heard this mantra, purity is the force. So book distribution is our most important activity. There are many types of activities in ISKCON. Deity worship, cooking, etc. But the most important is book distribution. Why? Because these books are not like ordinary mundane books. These books contain the Vani spoken by the Lord and the commentary given by the Acharyas. Prabhupada, when he would be dictating the purports to his Bhagavatam, he would have in front of him the commentary written by previous Acharyas. He would take the essence from their commentaries, add on what was necessary, and present it in the form of Bhaktivedanta purports. And the slokas, that is Krishna's Vani. So the holy name is not different from the Lord. Similarly, the pages of the Bhagavad-Gita are also non-different from the Lord. So Prabhupada encouraged us to distribute books. What did he say? Many quotes. One of his most famous quotes that he gave during the last few weeks on the planet was, as long as book distribution goes on, I will never die. We don't follow the Ritvik model. What Prabhupada meant is, as long as you do book distribution, I will continue to preach through these books. And we see that all the time. Vijay was recalling some stories. But even today we see these books are changing the lives of people. There was a businessman in our North India whose job was repairing trunks and almaras. So people would come and give him an empty suitcase and he would fix it up. So one person gave an empty trunk for repair. He had vacated the whole trunk, but he forgot to take 2 or 3 small books which were left in the corner of the trunk. So this man, when he opened the trunk, he saw these books. He was curious. He didn't know much about ISKCON. He started reading these books, which were left behind by a client in a trunk that he gave for repair. He was so fascinated. He went from the first book to the second book to the third book. And then he started coming to the temple and he became a devotee. And how was he introduced? He was introduced to Krishna consciousness through these books. Sometimes we devotees have the mentality, who is going to read these books? Because when you go on book distribution, it's not that everyone gives you an enthusiastic response. Am I right? Even when Lord Chaitanya called Haridas and Nityananda and said, go house to house with the following message. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Siksha. Chant the names of the Lord, worship the Lord, and follow his instructions as revealed in the Bhagavatam and Gita. So Nityananda and Haridas, what a fantastic team. Nityananda and Haridas. They started going house to house. Some houses they went to, they were received very warmly. Oh, the sages have come to our house. What's your message for us? And they would deliver the message. And then they would say, thank you, we'll do it. But some houses they went to, the local host was very rude. We wanted to come and have a look at your ecstatic dancing, which was being done in Shiva Sangan. You didn't let us come in. So now we wanted to come in. Some places where they went, the locals said, these are thieves in the guise of saintly people, and they've come to see what we have, and then they'll come to plunder. And this was being spoken to whom? To Haridas and Lord Nityananda. So even the Lord's experience when he went to preach was, some gave him an enthusiastic response, some were indifferent, and some were openly blaspheming. So that's the experience that we also have. When you go to preach, does everyone respond favorably? Our wish is that people may be gate crashing. Come on, I want a Gita. I want a Gita. My turn is first. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. Some people take it, some don't take it. So sometimes we have the understanding that people are not reading these books. So what's the value? What's the purpose? These books, Prabhupada said, are so powerful that even if somebody reads just one shloka and begins to apply it to his life will change. That's the power of these books. These books have changed the lives of countless people all over the world. So we should at no point think that these books today are not as relevant as they were before. And these books have the same potency. Prabhupada's words were, if you want to please me, distribute my books. So book distribution is going to be our eternal activity. It wasn't a short-term activity. And through these books, countless people have joined and countless will join. We should have faith. Prabhupada wanted us not just to distribute books, but also to read the books. Jokingly, Prabhupada said once, you're distributing these books, and if someone says, what's inside these books? And you say, oh, sorry, I don't know. It won't make any sense. So Prabhupada wanted us to read these books. Prabhupada said, when Krishna sees we're reading his books, Krishna says, here is someone trying to understand me, and let me give him the understanding by which he can come to me. In other words, when the Lord says you're making an effort, the Lord reciprocates. You take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards you, Prabhupada said. So book distribution is an activity in which everyone can engage in. This is not just an activity for the brahmacharis or brahmacharinis. Sometimes we devotees think, oh, when I join, for a few years I'll do book distribution and then retire from book distribution. The opportunity for preaching will always be there. It depends if we want to take advantage of it or not. And if we sincerely endeavor, what is real samadhi? Meditating on how we can deliver the conditioned souls back to Godhead. So these books contain eternal wisdom. And Prabhupada emphasized book distribution. Why? Because his spiritual master emphasized. Why? What the previous acharyas have done. And in the Bhagavad-Gita, spoken 5,000 years ago, in the 18th chapter, what does the Lord say? Of all devotees, who is most dear? One who preaches my glories. Yaidam paramam guyam. And there will never be one more dear. And the verse we just cited from the 4th canto, now the Muni was explaining to the Prachetas. If you want to please the Lord, do the following 3 activities. So, preaching, the importance of preaching has been mentioned in the scriptures 5,000 years ago also. And if we sincerely endeavor, Krishna helps. Sometimes we feel, why don't have the ability or the skills? But it doesn't matter. If we endeavor, Krishna will help. So we're very happy to be present on this occasion, where we are going to acknowledge the service of devotees who took part in book distribution. There was a little confusion whether the awards would be only for the international devotees or the Mayapur devotees also. But it appears that the function today is mainly to acknowledge the services done by international devotees the local Mayapur devotees, I believe they're going to have a separate function. So bhakti distribution is always our top priority. Our success depends upon our enthusiasm and strictly following spiritual standards. Purity is the fourth. And through the medium of book distribution, Prabhupada will continue to preach. People read Prabhupada's purpose and they say, yes, we must do what Swamiji is saying. Prabhupada's Bhagavad-Gita, as you know, has been translated in over 70 languages and has changed the lives of thousands of people. In India, at the time of Gita Jayanti, we organized Gita Marathons and Gita contests. We encourage students to read a summary of the Bhagavad-Gita and then take part in exams. And these exams are open even to Muslim and Christian students. And many people take these exams, take this program, and they have the greed to get a trip abroad or whatever. But nevertheless, they read the Gita. And many have changed their life after being introduced to the Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas give us eternal wisdom. We should read these books and keep distributing these books enthusiastically. Nothing would please Prabhupada more than when he would see the results of book distribution. So let us please Prabhupada. Let us keep endeavoring in this area. And if we endeavor, Krishna will help us. Hare Krishna.
So now we'll hear from Jayapataka Swami, who has inspired many devotees around the world, especially here in Mayapur. They have 10 buses that travel around India distributing books. And he's a great inspiration for the devotees here and elsewhere as well. Let's give a warm welcome to Jayapataka Swami.
Namah Vishnu Pradaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namene Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschatya Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama Krishna Narayana Hare Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Mukhagaro Divachalam Pangalangayate Garim Yatkivachaman Mande Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Om Tat Sat. So, I hope that I can be understood. If not, tell me, raise your hand, and I'll have someone repeat what I say. We are very honored to be able to address the book distributors and devotees around Islam. Actually, I was reading in one of the Puranas the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that just as the name of Krishna is not different from Krishna, and by chanting the holy name, we are able to bring Krishna into the lives of people. The Bhagavatam is a literary incarnation of the Lord, and that whoever has the Bhagavatam, all the devas, all the demigods, they come in that house and they pay their obeisances. So when you distribute a Srimad Bhagavatam, you're bringing the Lord into their house. If they hear the holy name, that brings the Lord in their ear, in their heart maybe. But if you distribute a book, Bhagavad-Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord Himself is going into their house. Lord Chaitanya, He gave us 3 orders. Bolo Krishna, chant the name of Krishna. Bhajo Krishna, serve Lord Krishna. And Koro Krishna Shikha, study the books or read the books of, or read the teachings of Krishna. Now, the teachings are Bhagavad-Gita is personally spoken by Lord Krishna, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken about Krishna. So, our books are actually bringing type of revolution in the hearts and minds of the people by giving them Krishna. Most people don't think about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One devotee asked Haridas Thakur that isn't mental chanting more important because it's more subtle. But he said, no, loud chanting is better because you're helping other people, other plants, insects, animals. They hear the name, they benefit, and that is 100 times beneficial because you are forgiven for many offenses by loud chanting. So we know that the book distribution is the Brihat Mridanga, the loudest chanting. So by you distributing books, you are getting forgiven from many offenses. And that's the quickest way to reach the spiritual world, as our book distribution minister presented, that this is a fast track to get back to Godhead. So, as we heard, we should be very enthusiastic I think that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj stressed how enthusiasm is something that inspires the people to buy books. I heard that one lady, she was distributing books in the New Orleans airport. This is when they allowed people to distribute in the airports before the terrorism fear. But she hadn't distributed any books the whole day. So when the new plane landed and the passengers went by, she was trying to offer people books. So one gentleman, he said, no, I don't want, today is the worst day of my life, the worst day. And she said, oh, sir, we're here to help people having the worst day of their life. Tell me, what's the problem? So he said, why did I go to college? Why did I get married? Why did I get a job? Everything I did to please my mother, because I did everything to please my mother, and she died today. You know, the day is the worst day of my life. He said, sir, she didn't die. See here in Bhagavad-Gita, it says that she's eternal. She just left her body, but she's still alive. Really? Really? That's written here. Yes. Can I have that? Oh, sure. Can I give you $20? So, you know how I like to tell the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. But I think that this book distribution is a modern Leela of Lord Chaitanya. And I like to hear Sankirtan stories. One book distributor in LA asked me what she could do. So I said, tell me some Sankirtan pastimes. And then they asked me in Mayapur what to do. I told them, tell me some Sankirtan pastimes. So, one of our devotees here, many people have told me different pastimes. And I like to hear, in LA, of course, one pastime wasn't sent out by the book distributor on ministry, but she said she sold a small book, to one man in a petrol station. And then when she went back to her car, in Southern California, they have the drug dealers. Into the car, shot the guy while he's holding the book and killed him. And everybody, died down in the gas station to avoid being shot. So how this person bought a book and died right there in that gas station, was shot dead. Maybe he was a very sinful man, but he was holding the book. He was holding Krishna. So in that way, it seemed like that person was blessed. He was blessed. So we heard how the Lord Chaitanya, he came down to the student love of Krishna. And we heard how the previous acharyas, from Bhakti Vinod to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, they were distributing books. And then Prabhupada got the order to print and distribute books. So he was selling in New Delhi in the tea stalls. his book. And when I came to the temple in San Francisco in 1968, no one would take my money for the prashadam. They said a 25-cent donation. It was cheap in those days. But everybody was too busy to take. They told me, go next door to Gargamuni. He'll take your money. His nickname was Gargamoney. But anyway, he not only took my donation, he sold me the set of Prabhupada's first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I read that, and I've been here ever since. So, book distribution is very important. I read the Easy Journey to Other Planets, and that was very impressive. So I tried to encourage my devotees and all the people in my zone, and everywhere for that matter, to engage in this service of Lord Chaitanya to distribute his books, because those books are the incarnation of the Lord in literary form. So I thank all the book distributors everywhere in the world. You are changing people's lives. You're doing a special service to the GDC, our Vaisasika Prabhu. He had mentioned how book distribution is the special super sadhana. He was presenting how book distribution is the sadhana bhakti top level. So that was very interesting. I heard that this year his area, which is mainly congregational devotees, I don't think he has any devotees living in the temple. For the first time, they defeated LA, which has, I talked to the temple president at Delhi, who used many times beats Mayapur. This year we were lucky. We won. What? Many years they win. So I asked, what's your secret? He told me, we have 2,750 book distributors.
Wow.
How's that? He said, all our congregational members, they help us. They come out on December and they distribute. Now we have 10 buses in Mayapur, all brahmacharis. But I told them that we can't, just brahmacharis alone can't do it. We have to have our namat, have to have our grihastas. Everybody has to lend their might. And then we can, hopefully, sometimes we can defeat New Delhi. Not only, he's a GDC in Mayapur and New Delhi. So we have his blessings all the time. So, now here we have our congregation also now on the inspiration of New Delhi, have our congregation also distributing books. And this, we want this culture, everybody believes the books, reads the books, and distributes the books to their friends, to their neighbors, to their family members, or anyone on the street. So I thank you all for this opportunity. I thank all the book distributors worldwide for their very special service. Hare Krishna.
I'll have him. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Jayapataka Swami. So now we're going to have the international award ceremony for book distribution. So there's three temples in each continent that will receive awards for book distribution. They're going to come, right? Someone's going to come and get an award, and then you give them garland. So for otherwise it's hard. So for Africa, in third place, with 12,586 book points, Kisumu, Kenya. Anybody here from Kisumu? Hey, please come. And go to Maharaj and get a garland. He's going to give you a garland.
Govinda Prem here.
Give him a garland.
You can also take the award on behalf of...
Here. Hare Krishna, thank you. I don't know if any of you have distributed books in Africa. It's very difficult. Very difficult to distribute books in Africa. So these devotees, they're not doing a lot of books like many temples, but it's very glorious that they're doing this. So, in second place, with 34,067 book points, Nairobi, Kenya. Anybody here from Nairobi? Again. Thank you. Okay, in first place, with 39,411 book points, Durban, South Africa. Anybody here from Durban? Prabhu, come back. Somehow get this to Durban. Anybody? No one here? Maharaj. Oh, here we go. Here's some Durban. Thank you. Get that to the temple somehow. And now for Australasia, in third place, with 26,723 book points, the Auckland Loft, New Zealand. Yeah. There's a Mataji here. Here she comes. She's been distributing books in New Zealand for how many years? Go on, how many years? 25. 25 years this book distribution in New Zealand. Oh, here. Thank you.
I need more garland.
Yeah. We have more. Give these to Maharaj. So in second place, with 43,916 book points, Sydney North, Australia. Is Aniruddha here? Aniruddha? Yeah, here, you can take this too. Okay, so in first place, with 51,465 book points, Melbourne, Australia. Aniruddha Prabhu here, he's the temple president of Melbourne, and he was a book distributor back in the early 80s. Yeah? So here, come and get a garland. Get a garland. And now for South America, in third place with 62,074 book points, Mexico City, Mexico. Maharaj is a book distributor from way back. And now, the second place with 65,420 book points, Nitai Goranga TSKP, Brazil. And all these book points was by this Prabhu right here. Get a garland. And in first place in South America with 71,337 book points, Cueramaro, Mexico. And now for Eurasia, in the third place with 35,264 book points, St. Petersburg, Russia. This is the GBC for St. Petersburg and other parts of Russia. Moscow also. And now second place with 38,953 book points, Moscow, Russia. This is Ambarish Maharaj. He's been distributing books for also about 30 years. 30 years in Russia. And first place in Russia is with 63,450 book points, Moscow, Gita Nagari, Russia. Is there somebody here from Gita Nagari? Here, you take it, Mars. It's okay. You give it to him. Okay, now Europe. Third place with 63,138 book points, London, Soho, England. Jani Tai is here. Here we go. Jani Tai is a book distributor. He was actually the Sankirtan leader in London for many years. Then he became the temple president, and now he's pushing book distribution. What year did you start distributing books? 2000. So 20 years ago he was distributing books. Thank you. Second place with 63,825 book points, Sankirtan Dham, TSKP, Italy. Haribo. First place with 94,889 book points, Bhaktivedanta Manor, England. And this is going to be received by Sutapa Prabhu, who was a book distributor from what year did you start? 2002. And this Prabhu, if you don't know him, you want to get to know him, because he's a wonderful devotee. We call him like the Vaiseshika Prabhu of England. Yeah. Wonderful devotee. He's taken sannyas in 2 years. Okay, for the USA or North America. Third place with 69,038 book points, New York, Harinam, USA. Anybody here from New York? Now it's amazing. This party is amazing. There's a devotee, Ram Roy, who lived in Vrindavan for many years. And when his dear friend, Ayendra Prabhu, left this world, he thought the best thing that would please him would be to go on Harinam in New York City. So he did that. It was just him and one other devotee. But wherever there's Harinam, there's book distribution. So now they're number 3 in America. And they do these Saptarisis. They do sets. Sapta means 7. So they do Saptarisi sets to people in New York City. It's amazing. It's just they opened up a whole new realm of book distribution. in New York City. So I'll get this to them. So now, this is second place with 226,897 book points, Los Angeles, California. And this will be received by Sachitanoy Prabhu. I believe he's here. Yeah. He's been distributing books since 1979, 41 years. He's 67 years old and still goes out every day. Third place with 811,419 book points. Whoa. Oh no. Actually, Vaisheshika Prabhu, he left early. So I gave him the award early because I knew he wasn't going to be here. So what they did is first place, they did 278,227 book points. So this is the first time anyone has beat the Los Angeles Temple in 4 decades. And as Jayapataka Maharaj is saying, no one lives in the temple but the deities. Yeah. No brahmacharis. It's all householders. He's got hundreds of devotees that go out on book distribution. So it's a really, that goes to show, and he told me that he wanted to show that it's not only by brahmacharis going on book distribution, one can have great success in book distribution. Now I have a warning for Jayapataka Maharaj and Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He told me 3 days ago his goal is to beat New Delhi and Mayapur. So look out, Prabhus.
We welcome competition.
Gopal Krishna Maharaj says, we welcome competition. So, third place in India with 811,419 book points, Pune, India. And now, let's get a drum roll. Where's the drum roll? Got a drum? Second place with 1,189,730 book points, New Delhi, India.
Is anyone here from Delhi? Where is Bindakon?
They're all still distributing books. They want to beat Mayapur this year.
Come quickly, Bindakon.
Here we come. Here comes somebody.
He's a book distributor for a long time.
He's just now coming. There's no drum. We don't have a drum here. Haribo. And now you may be wondering, who's first place?
I'm Mayapur.
First place with 1,287,260 book points, Mayapur, India. There's the drum. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Prabhus, I've been asked by a very, very dear friend to say something more about book distribution. Yadubar Prabhu, who came here in 1971, as you all know, he made this movie, Hare Krishna. So many people are becoming devotees from watching this movie. And when I was in Australia, one devotee told me how a person had seen the movie in Brisbane. He found out the address of the farm in New South Wales. He came into the farm and he asked the first devotee, "Do you know where there's any devotees around here?" He had never seen a devotee. Well, he said, "Well, I'm trying to be a devotee." Okay, good. I need beads. I need a Bhagavad-Gita. I need so many things. Can you help me out? He said, yeah. What happened? Why are you so enthusiastic about this? I saw that movie, Hare Krishna. It's amazing. It changed my life. I just want to be a Hare Krishna now. So Yadubar is in the process of getting inserts in Prabhupada's books, give people an opportunity to hear and to see the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Now we have another old friend here. It looks like he wants to say something about book distribution.
Hare Krishna, my name is Sachin Narayan Das. I'm BBT Director for the Far East Middle East. And I just wanted to say that if you want to have even a better chance of beating New Delhi and Mayapur, you should distribute Arabic books, which is very easy to do. And the book points for Arabic are 12 times the book points for the same book in English or Hindi. The reason for this is that there is a perception that it's very difficult to distribute Arabic books, but our actual experience is that the Arabs, no matter where they live in Europe or USA, even in New Delhi they're doing it, the Arabs are reaching out for the books. They're very fascinated by ancient knowledge from India. So it's very easy to do. We have the books. Even in India, they're available. Please do this, and you will please Srila Prabhupada more than you can imagine. He said anyone who helps with this, he takes the dust from their feet and puts it on his head. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Transcendental Book Distribution ki. Jai.